you're talking. It's a lady walking up. You can start.
I will start and restart. This is the flexible scheduling. My name is Rian. I've been teaching for 11 years. 3 in BCS. I teach in Ward 8 at Kramer Middle School. I am also a public testimony organizer with Empower Ed. I want to start this session by talking about my values because I believe that's going to impact how we engage with each other today. One is wholeness. I believe that all people should have dignity and respect in their communication and how we engage with one another. I believe in collective voice, so this session is not me just sharing slides. I want to hear from you, especially since we're doing something that is so innovative, and that brings me to my third value, which is community growth. So during this presentation, there's some questions that you can reflect upon. I'm going to share some teacher voice feedback. How did the teacher voice resonate with me? What questions do I now have because of the information shared? How will flexible scheduling look for my community, my city, my ward? What problems will arise from flexible scheduling, and what solutions flexible scheduling will? Some of us we can also go around and do and have to show up.
Derek Jones. I'm currently a 7th grade math teacher for state.
Hello, everyone. I'm Gabrielle DeBose. Started my 10th grade at Ellington, teaching class on school history and music, and also facilitating. My name is Susan Francis. Starting my year at Duke Ellington, and I am 11th grade English. I'm now sorry. I really create and I am most of the 6th grade forms and I didn't know teacher was.
My principal.
Good afternoon, my name is Rachel. I'm a position of data assessment research at OSSI, and I will take notes from my colleague in
And we'll go to Patricia next, but just to let you know, we have a system here for us to have community, because one of my values is collective voice. So if you would like, you can come to the NCC that are inside the intersection.
That's why that I asked one.
And I'm really involved in educational policy issues that affect health professionals. I am Chloe. I'm a 1st grade teacher at Plum Elementary.
I'm Genesis Samuel. I used to be a teacher. Now I'm a graduate student at French.
Hi, I'm Sheree. I'm also
Hi, I'm Jean Chang, and I used to work at DC Public Schools, still live in the area and support a different charter. So now I do social impact and education consulting. And apologies for sitting here, my parking meter, full transparency, so I don't want to disrupt this later.
I'm glad that you brought that up. Sydney Brown, I showed different ways. Probably, yes. I have witnessed them. Nice to meet you all. just remember some names that are around the room, because all the work has to be done alone. And, you know, the fact that, you know, you're sitting back there because the power meter is another reason why flexible option for people to engage in this. So, this is just a timeline of how this presentation is going to go. We're at 1:04, it's supposed to be over at 1:35, but we got to start late. I just want you to take 1 minute to read this reflection from the lecture, and then I want you to share out how this story resonated. Yes, I see it all over your face. You're like, wow, you see yourself in the story.
Yeah, because I used to be a teacher, and I'm thinking about like all the reasons why I left the profession, and flexible scheduling, I think would have me on a little bit.
I just felt like I wrote it.
Yes.
Reading it, it seemed very relatable. And then I kept trying to rewrite it and say it instead of basically like all the demands fell on the teacher, and that the teacher, it's affecting them, but what about the teacher? Because without the teacher, there is no class. It's just a room. Every profession needs a teacher.
I think they just realized
I feel like most would come from anyone of
the picture they had for their program or whatever they were looking for, but that's not a problem.
So we believe that one of the solutions to the feelings that are around the room and on the screen from a teacher is flexible scheduling. So that means having a modified daily, weekly, or yearly schedule for staff. It means that we're making sure that we're increasing wellness for the educators, the teachers, planning, collaboration in the school building. And just want to stress that flexible means flexible, so it's going to look different from school to school, community to community. When we submitted a survey to teachers, we had over 1,100 teachers respond. I'm representing over 105 communities, and they responded saying, well, only 12% that they had some kind of flexible scheduling, while 87% currently do not. And we also had some data around who they plan on leaving, and 17% say they will likely leave the role that they have, the district with the role. And then 21% said within 1 to 2 years they will definitely leave. For me, also that data, I think about like my own school experience, and I know if I go back home, I want to see faces of teachers that I had. And I think that was a concept for a long time, and now it's the how. So it's like, you know, it has to be, because our community has to be, and flexible scheduling could bring that back to us. Does anybody else have any other questions on this?
I just wonder, like, how does that shift break out to charter in DC public schools? Because it is a huge chapter, it's a much different animal. They got a charter between their own, some of them being their own LEA. We got 100 different LEA to graduate. And so maybe some of those teachers have flexible scheduling.
Yeah,
I can definitely speak to that. I work at a charter school, State Board Academy, And I would have 7:30 to 5 p.m.
I'm sorry.
7:30.
Don't say it again.
Which we sometimes we have meetings that last.
Like, what's not stupid?
School days, school holidays at 12:30. So the schools are there, they start, 8:15.
But you gotta report.
Yeah, so I'm at 4:30, just last 6:30.
Oh.
Yeah, you know, mindset.
Mine doesn't matter.
Got floor, so I gotta make it possible. I need to make it.
Yeah.
And for transparency, like I said, they'll ask, talk about ideas and we get into like research. Like,
Yes.
But also, with full transparency, apparently like the year before I came to year before I came, they going on having the PDs incorporated into the days. So instead of us doing like a day off here, like you know, family holidays, we have like weeks at a time. We have what we call we have like 2 weeks for Christmas. So give the new favors. So I'm going to make full transparency. So if there are some trade-offs. So in addition to that, we're on a 12-year contract. It's a 12-month contract. Love that.
Oh, for everybody.
I know.
So it means that.
Yeah. Yeah. I was.
And I just wanna go back to my value about, community and flexible, so we did have some people join, I like to have an opportunity to say, their name and how they serve.
I am Rian, so I'm a councilman from, and I, you know, my mom.
Anybody else who joined us?
Okay,
And how
no
they
time.
serve?
My name is Jamal Jones. I teach at an adult charter school called Academy of Hope. But I've been, I guess you could say, with the power for a couple of years. Will be in that position.
Teresa, Village Health, and other schools and
Anybody else have any other perspective? And some questions I wrote down, so definitely go back to the report. Did we segment the data by charter owner? I'm not sure.
I think it's primarily listening to house.
But I know that that's all.
Yes. Yes. So
Not
it's
charter.
majorly DCS, but there are some county.
Yes,
20.
No, so these are results based off of a survey that was sent out around November, and it was open up until of 2022, yes. And it was through, I believe, January that we were collecting results. The data, I believe, is not disaggregated, so there's not like charter school like data. This is public school data, but it was a majority of DCPS respondents. Yeah,
but maybe we could. So, when we look at how Black communities affected on this topic, especially those that were 30 and over, they rank steadily and significantly high on the finding the state. And you see on the side, how they rated.
Our principal hired a new program for them to come here to talk about how to manage better. Everybody to get them outside more. You know, feel free to get your conversation. Yeah. Resonate.
The guarantee.
Get them.
And the guarantee count was for all schools.
Yeah.
4-day work week.
And I think it's interesting that like wellness slash flexible scheduling can be like an umbrella, perhaps, or all of these things kind of underneath. While we are talking specifically about flexible scheduling, it's also like interconnect all of these things, which will, you know, hopefully encourage educators to stay in the field longer. Right? When education is reimagined with some of these options that we're talking about today, because with public school in particular, it's like this big thing. And you start talking about flexible scheduling, wellness practices, and folks start getting nervous, like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna do that. But there are ways to get it done, and teachers are speaking up, speaking out, and getting out input because we do understand a little closer what works because we're in the classrooms, because we're in the schools.
Everything, but I had a slight question about what healthier school buildings, because I'm also framing like health. I was just on like an NSA school visit all last week, so I was looking at facilities, I was looking at like actual health and safety, and I was looking at culture. And so I guess I was curious, is like healthier school buildings mean like they were actually helping the staff feel healthy, or we're just talking about facilities clean, functional water clean?
Well, you have to create the standards. So
Yeah,
what
exactly.
is
Like, are we not
it?
identifying
So
what that
for-
looks like?
From my understanding, the State Board of Education rep from Board 7, Ebony Rose, they're going through creating what it means to be a healthy school. What does a healthy school look like? What are the standards? How does these build? Like, so right now, there are no standards on what a healthy school
Okay.
is. Like, we're
This is my
like,
question.
we have wellness. People that came from Central Office came to check and see if we talk to each other nicely.
But there is. But what a building is considered to be healthy or not so much healthy, but what a building needs. It needs
Yeah, the
that
cleanliness, yeah.
But yeah, and air quality and also lid, because that the performance of budget, that. Sorry.
One of the things that I noticed about the healthier schools is probably environmentally friendly, where you have more lead bin, where you have water recycling, where you have the lights cut out instead of staying on. The pollution in the buildings, of asbestos, lead poisoning, a lot of the schools in the areas kind of might have those conditions, and a lot of the teachers are saying they're getting sick, the students are getting sick, but nothing is done about the environment around it. So I think that's probably where the healthier school building may be more environmentally friendly to the neighborhood and the community, where it can give back to the environment instead of cause more pollution. Especially the sewage systems and, you know, the rats and the rodents. Yes.
These jobs, because for the past 2 school years, I was church operations at a charter school in New York, responsible for the substitute schedule at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm deeply sorry. Their peers are covering them and use their prep period, use their lunch, then we're not contributing to.
Or if you have paraprofessionals that then step in and fill in the role of the teacher, but then they're not compensated admin pay or that, what is it, the per diem for the extra duty? You're just paid that flat 20-hour rate. Now, how is that fair? Is that equitable? Heck no. A lot of our paraprofessionals at BCPS and charter, they're still on government benefits, TANF, with food stamps, DC Medicaid. So it's like we're just moving money to change money. So what are we really doing to fix the root causation? As Rihanna said, you know, the money's good. It's good to pay.
There's a lot of it sounds like treating educators as professionals, also treating them as like people. So giving them the autonomy, the healthy working environment, people who have to do their job well, but also just like effective working.
Thank God we're not in Florida.
Good old DC. Blueprints. I love blueprints. I know the shouts.
Yes.
Blueprints is awesome.
You know, that's why we have this space to share the resources, and you can take them back to your own school community. So you can share with your leadership, say, hey, this is what other schools are doing, and let's see if we can. I'm not going to read because of the time or ask you to read them, because I really think that they resonate with the story in the beginning. But now it's time to like look at some of the models that have been created by teachers. And then I'm also going to share just a little bit about, you know, what it looks like at my school. So first,
Out of curiosity, is there any way that you could blow up one to? I could just see.
yeah,
It's a little fun.
no, that was
Yeah, or command plus.
Or if you can just let us know.
yeah, we have.
Oh, we're going past.
Over by the
Yes.
books. We only have a-
Well,
we share.
Share with a friend.
.com.
Oh, yeah.
As well as on the website, you would go to teacher.
You go to get the Empower Ed and then backslide it.
So my question to you is, do you think any of the models, what questions they could have in?
Yeah, no, definitely. And I said, that was exactly what I'll share. So we're just gonna have 1 minute to talk, and then I'm gonna share what it was like.
Oh, yeah, so I don't think we'd have you. Yeah, because I wanted to do right, so physical and non-physical health.
You have any more exposure? There's demand.
They have a Friday, but they actually have this.
It's como testify, signing up for email. Ahí te van a mandar, pero tenemos que
But yeah, they actually kind of because at least the paper that I was the school that I was in, one schools on really good. One of being like in decent just something that's straight over here. There's actually
That last clap was for you, for all your people. So at Kramer Middle School, we have flexible scheduling on Mondays only. And the way that looks has actually shifted over time. So in the beginning of the school year, our flexible scheduling looked like the students attended 2 core content classes in the morning. And then they did a rotation between high PE, town hall, and lunch. And then after that, they would either go home at 1:30 or they would stay in the school building and participate in photography and drama and art, those types of activities, and that happened through community partners. So the teachers themselves, during that rotation time, the 3 different sessions, they would go to LEAP, which is professional development. They would meet with the MTSS to talk about the students and what interventions and resources we could give to the students in help with improvement. And then they would have, their time to do their own grading and all of that. So and then sometimes that would go into a staff meeting at the end of the day. So what we realized as the face expression teacher, that for the teacher, that was like overwhelming. Like all the stuff that I was missing is now pushed into Monday, and I can't do that. I need a break. I need to eat. Of course, they had lunchtime built in, but it was just too much back. So now what it looks like is we have Elevate Academy, and Elevate Academy is for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. We have one court of Elevate Academy, and what they do is we have a school garden, and we also have a hydroponic system. So the students will go in the garden, plant things, and we started planting inside. Well, that's going to happen in around April. We're going to take the things that we planted from the hydroponic. Then we do a lot of field trips on Monday. We do museums, and
More than
the other students will have their 4 classes in the morning, and then they go to lunch. And they have town hall, but it only happens once a month. So, yeah, so they actually have like more time uninterrupted to meet. So they don't really, so like with the Elevate Academy, actually I teach the Elevate Academy and it's all day. So for me, like literally all day. So for me, it is a little overwhelming, but it allows for the core content teachers to do what they need to do, and they're not so much stressed because they get to meet and review stuff. And they are, it helped me too, because originally I was planning all the town halls for 200 kids every month with no additional resources. They were, but we need to shift. So that's a part of flexible scheduling. You realize like something is not working. We're putting too much stress on one person versus the other person, and we made a change. So really, it gives more time.
Interrupt you, Chair.
Yeah, about how it impacts them. Right now, we have an overnight trip, and the students are living in middle school. So, it gives them more options to experience what DC has to offer, and also have time for the teachers for professional development and CSS. And during the town hall, they're more like social emotional and also celebration for academics. So that's what it kind of looks like right now. But I'm sure, in a couple of months, we'll say, like, for example, I'm going to express how overwhelmed I am with the Elevate all day long. So, does anybody have any questions about what it looks like at school or what you saw in the booklet? Yeah.
So I'm an English teacher and I teach English all day, every day, the same class every day. Well, not the same class, it's the switches off, like Monday, Wednesday class, Tuesday, Thursday, AB schedule, and then all day on Monday, which I really want to get out. So for me, it would be, and I think other teachers who teach that way, like history, math, and science, it would be more beneficial to us to have like a long, a short work week. And on Thursday and Friday, so like, because right now we spend our evenings doing unpaid labor, doing grading, prepping, because we don't really have in our school, we don't have a planning group, really. So our planning is at home. And, you know, it's not a lot of time to have a prep.
Why don't you?
Can I just say, can I ask
Because we have.
No, I'm about to say the Amelia rep gonna start talking.
We have advisory at the end of the day, which used to be our kind of planning period. So this advisory is like a home, if you play home.
Don't you have plans
So
on?
the students come, and then we have an hour, like from 2 to 3. That's it at the end of the day. I leave at 3. I leave and I go home. And then they get something to eat, maybe get a little exercise, maybe haven't done much.
The contraction.
So it's something good in there, but you like this stuff, no, you're like, I'm sorry. So it's planning.
Yeah, we have 2 to 3.
I rather leave it home, I get it.
Yeah.
She's not leaving. She said 2 to 3 was advisory time and then 3 o'clock.
No, advisory is from 1:30 to 2, and then 2 to 3, that's our time. But it's not really, because, you know, you have students coming in during that time who need extra help. You're still helping students. It's just, you know.
But contractually, you're supposed to get a planning period.
Contractually, there are a lot of.
And you're DCPS? Are you DCPS or charter?
It's, skeleton and special.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Part.
That's right.
But aren't you paying
Not all the teachers are.
Okay.
But you're still coming under the bargaining unit, and it still falls under that, even if it's hybrid or whatever Gallatin does, they do their own thing. Kind of like one the school that my daughter goes to, but you still, that's just.
So if you could re-envision this experience, what do you think the flexible schedule would look like for you?
For me to meet my needs, Friday would be off, because right now, you know, it's an art school. So you have the dancers having to be pulled out of class. Then I have to reteach them. You have the artists, you have the musicians, you have their touring, or you have all of these things, and you have to make sure every person in your class has knowledge, that they are moving forward just like everybody else. And so for me, it would be great if the art teachers, it would be beneficial to them to teach 1 less hour in the evening, because when they teach until 5, really 6 or 7, and the kids get home late, and then they, you know, they're tired when they come to class. If they taught on all day Friday, if they taught all day Friday, and I use Friday as my planning and grading period, okay, jackpot.
Or maybe what about office hours? Because I know if you're that model, it reminds me like college, certain professors would have office hours where they teach. This amount of
May I ask one thing? I know one thing that I've done myself as well. Looking at COVID, so I started recording my classes. I recorded classes, pop on YouTube, and they just.
Well, I do that too, but I do it in the form of a Zoom.
Okay.
I have my Zoom on every day, because I just told some kids, there's no sense in you coming and sleeping in my class. If you're at home and you're up,
Right.
they're coming to class, I count the present, I put a note saying, beautiful, but at least they don't have all the
Trying to catch
absences,
all, but yeah, I
and they're
understand.
still in the class.
That does mean something. It's tough. It's tough.
Question. One of the options that I haven't seen is schedule. Like,
What classroom model?
no, the fixed schedule. So basically, like we have the block schedules now. You know, we teach payday 1, 2, 3, 4, B 1, 2, 3, 4, and then why don't we flip it? Like to Thursday is an A day, but we flip it upside down, so we do 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, yeah. It's,
The rotating drop is
yeah.
actually, rotating drop is kind of similar to that, right, which is in here, which is like one period gets knocked off each day and the order changes. So
Yeah, but
it's like
it seemed a little unequitable for the subjects, because what I'm seeing is that all the electives get all the last periods of the day. I'm an elective teacher and I teach Italian, so it's a foreign language, which is like teaching English because we do everything. We do the writing, the reading, the listening, speaking, and honestly, like always getting kids the last period of the day doesn't help anyone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Should change.
Yeah.
So like the theory of rotating drop, the class shouldn't be the same, right? Like it should change where it is in the schedule, but you have to choose some classes to stay stable, right? And then some classes can change. So it'd be up to the school to decide like which classes are gonna stay the same and which classes are gonna rotate each day. So that's like definitely a choice between what really is the difficult choice is like not every class can be every day, right? You have to take a couple classes and have them not be every day. So then you're making a value judgment between like, is it one extra day of math and reading? Because that's where we're going to catch up. Is that equitable? Because then certain kids get that and they don't get the extra day of arts, right? So like those are the judgments in doing like a rotating drop. But if you do the enrichment model, then theoretically kids are just getting extra, right? Enrichment. And like definitely these models can be combined, which is why it's like our advocacy is so much like, here's a bunch of options. Let's let the schools figure out what works, for them. I'm gonna make a couple announcements before I'll wrap up. After we exit here, there's all the poster presentations outside. There's also some signs to sign up for budget hearings, which are happening on April 5th. So please scan those QR codes. And then there's a photographer who's offered to take like a huge group picture. So if anybody stays for a few minutes, we're gonna take a big picture on the patio at the end.
Oh, so if this information is going to.
yeah. We had a panel about, I think it's like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. During the day, where officials came in and listened to this presentation as well and had a panel discussion.
They said the same thing. It was very long. But it was good. I'm glad to hear are they going to do a reassessment, get back to you?
Yeah. Like the ongoing.
So yeah, it's an ongoing process. Yeah, so we're currently showing this report to like different council members. Did you see the report? Oh no, you're talking.
Spotlight me. Seriously.
Yes, but you've seen the report.
Yes, I have.
Haven't seen the report. Yes,
And Robert introduced the bill.
Robert
Yeah,
introduced the
codes.
bill. I know both of you
We're on it.
are on it as well. So this is being actively passed around to people in positions to make the changes necessary. If that answers your question.
Yeah, and pushing it through off,
And pushing it through us.
so that it's not like a.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also to continue to be. If you know your school needs more than just picking out one chart.
Staffing specifically in school, I feel like without different staffing and more enrichment teachers, you're just like reshuffling the deck. It's like some adult has to be kids at all times. What is staffing?
Yeah, that's what I was sharing about my school and how, we've had to shift over time because of staffing needs. So like if we had a perfect world, I think we definitely need more teaching staff, staff that was more mental health team. more climate team members in the hallways, more positions. So we have to think about all of it. And I do like how my school is just starting off small. It really started with one grade.
You said that your students leave at 1:30, or they have the option. Do they go home? Like, is there like what percentage?
Honestly, I would say probably 90%. And the families are actually saying, yes, we want this because we have needs as a family. And now we're able to work as a family unit.
And how does that work towards the requirement of seating hours? Do you have longer hours?
No. But we kind of like with the high peak, that's when we were making sure that all the PE hours were included in the high PE. So then we have, I believe,
Class period.
we had last year we had that was one time. And just out of curiosity, does anybody have flexible?
I don't know if this counts, I'm sorry. I don't know if this counts as flexible handling, but we have virtual cards. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so we have the same, the hours thing and the things. We got to posse or with her because we're like piloting this idea to see if we can. Paul, but underscore.
But you, I was gonna say, but Paul also did a lot of socializing well in advance. I remember they were gonna pilot this year, so talking to parents, talking to students, just to make sure, because some families, it's a choice, right? And they have to be able to accommodate virtual Fridays.
Especially for the younger kids, like middle schoolers. For the high schoolers, it's like they go work at their job without conflicting with school, or like help out their family or whatever, and just do their exactly. So yeah, I think it's a big. It is. It's the virtual learning is a struggle. Virtual learning is hard to make it effective, but I think it's something that we just need to it's just that.
And there are schools that are completely virtual way before the pandemic, so we can, look at those models and, grow them.
What's your virtual attendance rate? You said. Like the regular school, like a physical school day and for the virtual day.
It's not that different. I mean, because they don't have to log in as much, they don't have to be there from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. So there's like an asynchronous time where they have to complete an assignment and that's counts as attendance. There's basically from 8 to 11:15, they have to be logged in. So it's not like a high bar to meet, and so we're able to keep the attendance the same as it is in person, which is still not great, but it's not different. It's the same.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Any more questions?
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
I was gonna say, that's a tough question.
So like, I got one question because I know you serve a lot of like underprivileged families and stuff like things like that. And a lot of times, I don't know how to say it, like the well-being of the kid, like there's no in there and like he's not there in the area where, like they need to be at home or whatnot.
Like crime area.
So yeah.
Like crime.
Yeah. It's the teacher. But like, yeah, and it's like we want our boys to say, we want boys to say. It's like sometimes I know like our longer hours because it's safer. It's safer with us. So it's like I get it. right? And the longer hours, sometimes it can be keeping them away from getting to occupation or neighborhood school or other kids and not. So it's like all these things, right? I think about. But the flexible scheduling is great for us, you know. I know some of our kids, you know, they have it hard. It's really tough. And so I just think about like just making sure everybody's taken care of. You know, taking up for the sequence.
Like activities or something.
Yeah, I was listening to
Still be
that.
in development, right?
And I thought that was dope about the art and things of that nature. I know we got really unique boys.
Good, I know you learned that. Yeah.
So you know, like a straight down autism, right? And that's what it is. That's the limit. But then that's the team, right? So I don't come a band. It's all this, right? All these things at the same time. And it's tough. It's tough. It's just like, you know, how do we allow that?
Well, it seems like this model right here with the different shifts might address part of what you're saying, because I understand what you mean when you're talking about longer work hours. But if you get to work from like 12 to 7, that's more sustainable than being there from like 7 to like 6 or 5 in the afternoon.
So this is
And so this model where it's that where you can choose.
that's in the book, you know.
There's some boundaries.
There are, she's, I know some, yeah.